How about that double K trucking?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, well, thanks for wanting to come out on the highway and show off that truck of yours. We've been looking at it over there at the Super Rigs and admiring it. It's nice to see it out on the road and let you stretch your legs without a trailer.
I appreciate it. I try keeping looking nice. It works every day.
Excellent. Well, tell me what it is. Well, obviously we know what it is. Tell me about the year and the make and the model and all the specs that some guys would want to know about.
It's an 07 Peterbilt 379, 6 1/4 cat, 18-speed, 325 rear end. That motor's had a little help. It's doing a little better, but that's what gets you up and down the road and gets you up the hills.
You definitely got a little bit of horsepower going down the road.
Yep, come with the 6 1/4 and the 2050 torque package. It's made for pulling and going.
Where are you based out of, and what region do you run?
I live up in Juneau, Wisconsin now, and I basically go from Toledo, Ohio, up to Owatonna, Minnesota, and back and forth between there, around Wisconsin, and I stick close to that area now.
Well, I bumped into you at a couple of shows. I saw you down there at the Wildwood earlier this year, and that was a 2015 75 Chrome Shop show there. And I believe I've seen you at a couple other shows as well. Do you find yourself going to shows quite often?
Yeah, I just started that. I got a lot of friends that do it, and they're kind of talking me into it, telling me that my truck should be at shows, but, I was kind of humbled and didn't think that it was worthy of it, but so here I am now trying to show it a little bit, and seems to be doing pretty good.
I was talking to someone earlier today, and they were asking me to describe the truck, and I said, you know what, there's not any other trucks that have a similar scheme as yours that I've seen personally. What do you say about that?
There's a few of them out there. I got a good friend up in Minnesota. It's not the same colors, but it's got the same scheme on it, and I think his is really cool too. But yeah, it's a unique one. It's a 70s based theme, and I like the old school look. That's what I'm going for here. It's why I put the 359 headlights on it and other things to make it look old.
What's your name there? I didn't ask you your name. Of course, I know your name, but you can go ahead and introduce yourself to the people out there watching these videos.
Yeah, I'm Kenny Kreier from Wisconsin, Double K Trucking.
Now, Kenny, how long you been trucking for?
Well, what got me into trucking is when I was just little, my dad was trucking, and I remember riding out to California with him. He had a brand new 1973 W900 Kenworth with a old 1693 cat and a 5 4 transmission in it. That's what I learned to drive on, and I was kind of hooked from that moment on. I think I spent most of my time hanging out the window of the truck watching the black smoke roll out of the pipes than I did had my butt planted in the seat.
Yeah, that'll make some memories, all right. There's guys that are still hanging out the window, looking at the smoke come out, looking at that coal. I know I'd do it myself there.
Yep, and that's kind of why I stay with the flat top. I love the old trucks, and I it's an 07, but it still looks cool with the flat top on it. That's all I've ever driven.
10-4, that's not a bad choice in truck there. So tell me, how long have you had this truck for?
I've had it since 09. It was a couple of years old when I got it, but the guy I was driving for asked me if I wanted to buy it, and I says, yeah, I ain't got nothing better to do, so I took over the payments, and here we are today. Now I got 1,178,000 miles on it, and it's never been touched. I just put my first clutch in it last year at this time.
Very nice. It's been doing you well then.
It's been a very good truck. Treated me right. Of course, I treat it right too.
Now, when you got the truck there in 2009, was it just the way it is now, or did you mentioned you put some different headlights on it? What else did you do to it?
Oh, put the headlights on, then I put the half fenders on it, painted to match the truck, then the shock box over the shocks on the sleeper, I put that in there and added a bunch of extra lights on the back of the sleeper and that shock cover, and just did a few little things, nothing real fancy.
Did that come off the showroom floor like that?
Yeah, it come from Peterbilt, kind of like this, but then the colors were changed a little bit, and then I just, River State's up there in La Crosse, they just repainted everything for me to give it a good shine.
All right, 10-4. Who else helped you get the truck the way it was, or the way that it is?
Evan up there at Evan's Polishing and hilt, and he's got all the aluminum shining. I mean, without him, I don't think I'd be at any shows.
I hear you. That looks like a mirror finish on the truck there. I'm looking at that bumper through the rear view mirror here, and it's just as shiny as all the other parts in the truck there, so he does one heck of a job. Well, let's talk about some custom parts. What do you got for stacks and visors and lights and all those other goodies like that?
All my lights are Trux Lights. They seem to be doing a good job for me. I got 7-inch Dynaplex Monster stacks, and then the visor is a Clint Moore visor that, he builds for his trucks when he builds a new truck. And like I say, the half fenders come from 12 gauge, and River State's painted them. And the stock box, that was a River State's Customs. They make their own there, and I guess everything else is pretty much factory.
And what do you got for lights on the trailer, and what's your overall light count?
I have all my lights matched from the front of the truck to the back of the trailer. They're all clear lens Trux lighting. And then, what did I count? Last count, I think I had 85 lights total on truck and trailer. Yeah, I know there's guys that have driven more miles than me, but sometimes it's hard to believe that I'm working on 4 million miles. I've already got over 3.5 million under my belt.
Well, thanks for mentioning that, because a lot of times that's something that, you take for granted. You guys have been driving for years, and obviously you're logging miles, but that's great to hear that many successful miles driven.
Yep, and I still love my job. I wouldn't rather do anything else.
Now, have you always pulled a flatbed?
No, I pulled a reefer most of my whole career. I didn't start pulling a flatbed till '07. I got tired of grocery warehouses, and I did all LTL when I had my reefer, and it was costing me sometimes $1,000 to get my truck unloaded with all them LTL drops I had for lumper fees, and I just got outrageous, and I just got tired of it.
And I've heard of those lumper fees, and some guys pay those, and some guys rather do it themselves. Now, if there's a guy that was trying to go from your situation of what you were doing, pulling a reefer, and wanted to go flatbed, and, what would be some of the things that you would say to him that as encouragement to make that change?
When you go into a place with a flatbed, people are happy to get their stuff. I've never, granted, any job you're going to encounter somebody that hates their job and is just miserable, but 98% of the time with a flatbed, I pull in there, they're happy to see you, they're accommodating to you, they don't holler at you and tell you you can't go here and can't go there, and it's just a whole different atmosphere. I love pulling a flatbed. With the reefer, you go in there and, they go into the receiver. They don't have bathrooms for the drivers because we're not good enough. And then, you got to deal with the lumper fees. And then if you want to do your own lumping, they make it miserable for you. So it ain't really worth your time. And if somebody wants to go into a flatbed, more power to them.
Yeah, you make a good point there about the companies or the receivers or wherever you're delivering. Yes, they're happy to get your product. They're happy to get what's on that flatbed because more than likely it's an integral part of what's going on there at that location.
Yep, and 90% of the time when I pull in there with the flatbed, I don't have somebody telling me that I need a lumper because there ain't nobody going to pick off a 40,000-pound coil.
What are some tips and tricks that you can share with someone to make some things a little easier for them?
One thing you want to tell somebody right away is don't think that you ever put too many straps on because you can never do that. I've had people tell me I put too many straps on, but I can go down the road and I can say that I've never had anything fall off my trailer. So I don't think there's such a thing as too many straps. And it's good exercise for you. You get out there, you throw your straps, and like me, I got an open flat, so I throw tarps and stuff, and it's better exercise than swinging doors and shutting the doors on a reefer or a van, and then just going to your next stop.
10-4 on that. Yep, getting up and down and off that trailer will definitely keep you in shape. So explain the type of coil, your typical type of coil that you carry, and your method for securing that, if you can.
I mainly haul skidded coils which means they're on a big big skid, and then they set them on the trailer, and I usually put 3 straps over the top of it and then 1 around the front to keep it from coming forward, and according to DOT, that's what they recommend. I've seen some people that just put 2 straps on, and to me that's not enough. So I think it's better to have more than not enough on them.
Are you carrying 1 coil at a time or multiple?
Usually I carry 2 coils. I put 1 up in the front of the trailer over the landing gear and 1 over the back and over the spread. It rides much better that way, and it distributes the weight evenly.
Talking about weight, what's the average weight on those coils?
The average weight for those 2 coils is 40,000. Each one's about 20,000 pounds. And then if I have a super single coil, those are up to 45, 46,000 usually. And then for those, I use 5 chains on a 45,000 pound coil and chain them down.
Thinking about strap-wise on those 20,000 pound coils, 2 straps ain't going to get that done. There's going to be some repercussion of not using the right securement for that.
Yep, and I'm sure people have seen pictures on Facebook where coils are laying all over the road, or they come right through the truck, and they're sitting in the sleeper or the cab of the truck.
With the drivers that are on the road, you guys see a lot of the behaviors of the cars that are on the road when it comes to moving over for the emergency vehicles. Either they move over or they don't. What are some of the things that you've seen in regards to those behaviors?
I've seen some pretty scary things out there. I move over every time I see an emergency vehicle, and I move over well in advance. But then you'll get some four-wheeler that, he figures he's going to drive by, and by the time he's going by, he's going fast, and then you're right at the tow truck or the officer or something, and they just, I don't know, it's dangerous what they do. I think those people should be getting tickets. The cops should give the guy that they got pulled over and give them a ticket for not moving over for an emergency vehicle.
Yes, you're right, and that is in place in Florida, where it's a law. They must move over, or reduce your speed.
Yeah, I've broke down a couple different times on the side of the road, and it's like some cars and don't, there's some trucks out there that ain't very courteous either, but they until you're there on the side, you don't realize how much that wind sucks you when them cars are coming by, or trucks, when you're trying to walk around and see what the damage is or what's wrong with your vehicle.
Correct, and that's another key point. It's all about that wind and the velocity of the wind. And I was talking with a tow truck driver, and he was telling me about some things, and heaven forbid you make a misstep, and at that moment that wind knocks you off balance, and it's just it's a bad situation, as well as other people just not paying attention and running into the back of a vehicle on the side of the road. If you can share some safety tips with a motorist in order to help them to travel on the road a little safer, and also to make your job safer, what would you share with them?
Well, the first thing I would say is, there's plenty of roadway in front of you when you want to pass me. Don't cut in 10 feet in front of me and then want to slow down, because I can't slow down as fast as your car can. And another thing is, don't sit on the side of me. What happens if a tire blows? If a tire blows on a truck, it can do substantial damage to a car. I mean, someone could get decapitated by that. Just, don't sit there and lollygag around. If you want to pass, and then make sure you're far enough ahead in front of me before you cut back in, so I have room to stop if you have to stop fast.
Correct. That seems to be the hot button for a lot of the guys that share that advice. They're looking for a little more room to maneuver, a little more room to stop safely if necessary.
Yeah, I got a friend that's a tow truck driver, and he's been at a couple bad wrecks where tires blew the side window out of a car because they're riding right next to the tandems on the trailer. I mean, it's not pretty. If people be aware of that, maybe they wouldn't hang out there.
That would pretty much stick in my mind. That would tell me to get right on by, because that's the last thing you want, is something coming in through the side of your window. Living down in Florida, we don't have to deal with deer on the road and things like that, but I would think that would be a hazard right along with animals on the road.
All right, if an animal jumps out in front of you, and you're right next to the truck, there's nowhere for you to move, so I just don't understand why you would want to ride right next to a truck all the time.
Yeah. We're going to grab that lookout road, and that'll take us back to the show.
You know, one nice thing about this job also is I've been to all 48 states, a few provinces in Canada, and up to Alaska in a truck, and it's, you know, you get to see the great country that we live in.
I've not been in all 48 states, just a handful, but I would be envious of all the things that you guys get to see when you're out there trucking. So let me ask you, since you mentioned that, what are some of your favorite states to move freight in?
I love northwestern Montana, Washington, up around Seattle area, and I like coming down here to Texas, but, you know, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Michigan, those are still all my favorites, and Pennsylvania.
Why are they your favorites?
Just because they have the 4 different seasons, the trees and the rolling hills, and I don't know, it just seems peaceful there.
Well, Ken, as we pull back in here to the super rigs, I want to say thanks for coming out and, again, you know, putting your truck on the highway and, you know, telling us a bit about it and telling us about some of the things that you do. And it's been a pleasure seeing that truck run down the road.
I thank you for allowing me to do it, and I had a great time.
Hopefully we'll see you at some more shows this year.
Yeah, I'm planning on it.